And so how did you guys actually meet? What was that story?
Basically, my one day I was in graduate school, and it was one of those long, grueling, cold days in Minnesota. And I got home late at night, and I had a roommate, and I just walked in and just sat down, and I was like, oh man, I need to get married. It was just like I don't know exactly what was the context or anything, but you're just tired, hungry, like alone, like defeated, basically. And I'm like, this is not it. Um, and my roommate just latched onto that. I just said it, and he just went and I just said it off the cuff, kind of. But my roommate went and like started looking at, I don't know, his Rolodex or whatever, and he happened to have gone to UCLA with Zeno, and he was like, "Oh, I know the perfect person for you." And I guess he went and did his matchmaking in the background, and he was messaging her roommate, trying to see to introduce us, basically. But it was really on that just one sentence that I needed to get married, kind of thing, and just the guys bantering at the end of the workday.
From my side, so I had been in that undergraduate place of like who me, who's going to want me, and then switching it to why not. And at that time, I was in law school, and I was in my very last semester of law school. And by that time, pretty much everyone I'd known had gotten married. So the external world pressure of feeling like, oh man, like I'm the only one. And, the idea of like, you'll meet someone in school, in undergrad or in college. And I'm like, well, here I am in my last semester. I met everyone I'm going to meet. So like, whatever. But I was, where I was like spiritually and mentally was in this space of like, just feeling really good about myself, just feeling really good about who I was, what I was working on, how I felt about myself. And I had talked to a couple of people before that. And it was very quickly, it was just like within the first one or two emails and phone conversations of like, no, this is this is not the right fit. This is not something that I'm looking for. And so I also did have like that kind of sense of like what type of relationship that I wanted it to be a partnership, that I wanted it to be, respectful and, not out of desperation, like not, I don't want to say settling, but not just like, okay, this is good enough. Like, this is like, I can make this work. I wanted it to be like, this is great. Like, because
the man of your dreams,
the man of my dreams, like, this is going to be great. Cause I was like, you're seeing all around the stories of people getting divorced and people suffering abuse and people like, I don't want something that's going to be terrible, obviously, but I also don't want something that's just kind of lukewarm, mediocre, because like I could do well, be fine on my own. So I was aligned in that sense. Like I want it to be something like special. I want this to be, a fairy tale, but like I really was looking for something that felt special, because marriage, especially from a woman's perspective, is a lot of work and a lot of risk and a lot of things involved. So like, if it's not, at least if it doesn't have the hope or the possibility or the potential to be special and magical, then for me, it didn't seem worth it. So I was in that space when my roommate came to me and was like, oh, his roommate has told us, do you want, to connect? And I said, yes. And we connected, this was a long time ago. So this was before any apps. And so we started with emails, and we were exchanging emails. And then we were on GChat, if you remember that, before we got onto phone calls. And like James said, we went through a process, and we're like really getting into the depth of, what are your values? What's your worldview? How do you view these things? And having these deeper discussions, based on a lot of really solid questions, which are the questions that we have in our book, that allowed us to determine basically in about 2 months that we felt we were compatible, we felt we had a strong connection, and our feelings had developed that we loved and cared for one another, and we wanted to get married.
And so how long after that did you get married?
So then another like 4 months. And basically it was because I was in my last semester of law school. We met in December. By like February, we knew we wanted to get married, and was like, we'll just wait till I graduate in June. And like, I graduated a week later, I came to California, my hometown, to get married for our wedding.